Thomas? You seem particularly triggered right now. Can you tell me what happened?
I've had dreams that weren't just dreams.
Welcome back to another episode of Two Beers, One Movie, guys. So excited to talk about this one. Matrix Resurrections. So there will be some spoilers, so switch off if you want. So let's just get straight into this one. This is the fourth installment of the Matrix franchise, starring Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss. So Neo Thomas Anderson is living in the Matrix. He has forgot who he is. He's now a game designer, a really famous game designer, and he has created the trilogy that is the Matrix. So he's created his own life based in a game. And it's really meta, it's really self-aware. His boss is played by Jonathan Groff, who is the new Agent Smith. Trinity also lives in the Matrix, and she does not remember who she is. She's a family. She's a mechanic who builds bikes. So in terms of both characters, Trinity seems a lot more happy where she is, a lot more settled. Where Neo is, he's struggling who he is, he's struggling with flashes and images. Can he separate his game world to his real world? He's going to see a psychiatrist played by Patrick Neil Harris. Or is it Neil Patrick Harris? Neil Patrick Harris. Who's basically just trying to tell him he's having this sort of psychotic breakdown. He's giving him pills to take, which is the blue pill. And it seems like it's almost laughing at Neo to a degree, or the world of the Matrix is laughing at Neo and what he achieved in the first three Matrix. Like, the system is basically using it as an inside joke, torturing him almost to a degree. On the outside world, there is a new character called Bugs. She's a really good character, and she basically wants to free Neo. First, she's going to need the help of Morpheus. So obviously Morpheus isn't Lawrence Fishburne. The real Morpheus is dead, but he's kind of like a computer hologram, or I really need a second watch just to figure exactly out who he is. But basically he's based in the Matrix itself. He is actually Agent Smith in the start of the movie. So the start of the movie opens up with a recreation or reenactment, mirror image of the first action scene of the first Matrix movie, with Trinity fighting the cops. It is a bit worrying at the start, because you're kind of thinking this seems a bit cosplay, a bit like Terminator Genesis almost, where it's kind of like the same scene with different actors from the other movies that you actually like. It does progressively move past this, where Bugs then frees Morpheus' mind, who thinks he is Agent Smith. From there, Morpheus becomes more like a comedic character. It seems like a parody almost. It's something I didn't really gravitate towards. So then they work together to try and free Neo. Neo and Trinity do cross paths plenty of times. They seem to know each other and recognise each other, but not exactly know each other enough. Then Neo is asked by his boss, Jonathan Groff, to make the Matrix 4. He's obviously confused and conflicted. He doesn't want to make the Matrix 4. And I go through a whole kind of segment of why making the Matrix 4 is bad. And it's kind of like an inside joke in itself, almost. There's a slight dig then at Warner Brothers. Little jokes back and forth. Our sequel's good. You kind of get the drift of that. Eventually then Neo is awakened from the Matrix by Bugs and Morpheus. A lot of flashbacks from the Force movie when he takes the pill. The movie is a lot of it's really meta, more meta than I thought it was going to be. Really self-aware, a lot of flashbacks, a lot of nostalgia. This is the year for nostalgia with Ghostbusters Afterlife and Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm all for that as long as it's done in the correct way. So Neo is awoken. We then find out that the new architect, or he calls himself the new analyst, is Neil Patrick Harris. He needed Neo and he needed Trinity to be brought back to life by the machine, so the Matrix construct could work together and be a lot better than the original Matrix, as apparently he understands the human mind better. He has a way to stop bullet time, kind of like reversing or rewinding time. It's pretty cool. There's nothing really groundbreaking in this Matrix movie. This Matrix movie seems more like a love story with action pieces set around the story. So the narrative is the most important thing. Where I always thought the original Matrix was just groundbreaking for science fiction as a whole. There's nothing really groundbreaking in this at all, but the action is still really, really good. Bugs, her action scenes are really good as well. She's definitely probably one of the best new characters. There is a couple of returning characters as well, like Niobe. Little bits of like narrative of what happened to Zion. It's 60 years later. It's very vague, to be honest, in terms of what happened to Morpheus, to Zion, to Niobe. It's vague. They try to get it done as quick as possible. The movie's 2.5 hours. There's not a lot of time to cram everything into one. So the mission then is by Bugs, who's a bit of a rebel. She wants to help Neo free Trinity from the Matrix. But the question is asked, what if she is happier in the Matrix with her life? Plans and plots both inside the Matrix and outside the Matrix in her pod to try and release her are coming to fruition. At the same time, then the analyst, he doesn't need agents. He can get people within the Matrix to turn on Neo and on Bugs and on the team. When they do come face to face, then Trinity, Neo asks her the question. She then eventually decides to leave the Matrix. She doesn't like being called Tiffany by her husband. Then they start to attack Trinity. They fight. There's a big Matrix type fight that we always see and love. The analyst freezes time again. He was never going to let her live, or let her leave. He would just restart it again. From there, a twist or surprise where Agent Smith, or the new Agent Smith, played by Jonathan Groff, sets some sort of kind of forced alliance with Neo, because he doesn't want to leave the Matrix. He liked the way it was, so he wants to get revenge on the analysts. From there, there's more battle scenes, and then the huge twist in it is that there's kind of a running joke. We could hear you could fly, Neo. He tries to fly, it doesn't happen. They're falling off a building, him and Trinity. Trinity catches him, and Trinity is the one that can fly. So Trinity is the one. Not only that, but Neo is also the one. So the movie ends with both of them flying off into the air. They're going to rebuild the Matrix. They let the analysts know this. There's possibly going to be sequels, I'm guessing. I don't think it needs another sequel. Although I did really like this movie. It's great to see the characters back. This is ultimately a love story set in the Matrix world. The chemistry between Trinity and Neo is really good. Obviously played by Keanu and Carrie. It's really, really believable. Bugs is a great new character. the new Agent Smith and the new Morpheus, while they are great actors, I didn't really feel it. I didn't gravitate towards those. There is still some things I'd want to go back and re-watch. It's definitely at least 2 or 3 watches before you're fully engrossed and engaged and learning exactly what's going on, because there's things going on, you're trying to shove it all into your brain, and I don't think one watch is definitely going to do that for you. The action is really good. Again, it's nothing groundbreaking like the original Matrix. The second Matrix, in my opinion, had the greatest action scene ever on the highway, not just in the Matrix. But overall, it's a really good movie. There's a couple of pros and cons, but I would definitely give this 3.5 beers out of 5, 3.5 stars out of 5. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as the Matrix. I know some people have given a bad review, some people have given it good reviews. I'm in the middle. I think it's good. I don't think it's brilliant, and I definitely don't think it's bad at all. It's a good movie. It's a solid entry into the franchise. So please like, subscribe, tell me what you think of the Matrix. Remember, this is a spoiler review. So sorry if you haven't watched the film and you watched this. I did warn you at the start, but I'll catch you in the next episode, guys.